You start on the second.
Yeah, we're good, okay, yeah, yeah. We're gonna open up the meeting, it's now 6:30, we have a quorum, we have some guests, we have a member of the board with us, and we have Danny. What else do we need, right? That's it, there we go. Okay, the first thing on the agenda is owners, member comments. Want to hit that?
You know what I'm going to comment about? Well, Robert Stady 516 for the record grass. I've heard that it's dormant grass. I've looked at it. I've read what Lauren sent me. My question really to you, Jared, is who makes the decision of what sort of grass we put down? Because when you read the email that Lauren sent, which I think you probably got copied in on, that grass is going to go dormant at least once a year. Now, I was there with the board when Brian said to us that this grass needs to be replaced twice a year, which none of us agreed with. And I remember Jill saying, the small dog park is lovely and green. And Brian's reaction was, we need to turn the watering down next door. My concern is we've waited 3 weeks now for dead. We're going to be waiting 3 or 4 weeks for dead grass to come green. Why the hell didn't the board just give us a bag of grass seed like we asked for and turn the watering on? We're going to be in the same boat again. I know that you're here kind of on your own, especially being on that side of the table.
That's okay.
But it just seems like logic kind of flies out of the window that they've laid dead grass that's dormant, so everyone says, but now they've been carve it up to put the digging pit in rather than put the digging pit in first. Now the guys,
Wait, they grassed over the digging area?
yeah, plan to put it in here, they've put all the rails in, they've grassed the whole area, and now they're going to dig the digging pit out. Put the digging pit in.
Wait, that doesn't make sense.
There you go.
Did they grass over the area that we've identified for the
Sand
sand pit?
Yes, they did. They said, Brian told us yesterday, they're gonna put it in after.
He's gonna do it this week.
Okay, I guess we're
Why?
going to need to find out why we paid for grass to have it removed. So I didn't know about that. We don't need to pay for that grass. And we'll bring that up.
I just, it's like, when we stood there, the small dog park was green. Okay, it wasn't all grass, it was a lot of weed. The dogs are gonna be digging and running about and doing their business on there. If this is gonna go dormant in the winter again, as Lauren's email said it will do, we're gonna be coming back to the board again for another 50 grand to put green grass down.
Well, there's a phased plan to replace grass by section, not the whole thing.
Problem is, the grass that's been put down, when you read her email, it says this grass is not good in shaded areas. So in the big dog park, half of the big dog park is shaded. So I don't understand. I know Brian is a landscaper, nice guy. We started here with 2 trucks with 6 guys. Now he does the whole town. But we've got a landscape architect that we can have paid $1,000 to give us a written opinion on what sort of grass we should put here and how we should do this. But we spent 50 grand. And the grass that we put down isn't good in shaded areas in the big dog park.
I don't have an answer for you on that.
No, I didn't expect to.
I know that have you seen it now? It is greener than it was before. It's coming out of its.
I saw it yesterday, and to be honest with you, if you'd given us a bag of grass seed and kept the dogs off it for a month, it would have been greener than it is now.
I know, but you can't warranty an entire park.
Do you think that Brian's going to warranty this?
Yeah, yes.
Well, Brian's already done it for the summer.
Next.
I just got word that the big dog park, the locks are not like people can access it, so just. So. Somebody walked in with their dog and lots of people were in the other, let them know, like, hey, get out.
Okay, I'm going to change the agenda a little bit. I'm gonna go right to Jill. and She's gonna read.
You want to see it?
Oh, I'm sorry, what questions? Any questions? This is an open question area now. Do you have any questions about anything in the park?
No.
No?
No,
Okay,
thank you.
I'm gonna go
Just
right,
sitting down, thank you.
right to Jill now. She's gonna read you what Brian had sent to us.
Okay, so we met Brian at the dog park yesterday morning. The day's gone, and we walked through the small dog park side with him. We looked at the large dog park side and what they were doing. We talked about it. And he says the sod that they have used in both the small dog park and the large dog park is Bahia grass. It's a drought tolerant, drought resistant turf grass used in many large fields throughout the southeast US. And it's in fact around all of the retention ponds in Celebration. It does not require a working irrigation system to keep it green in the growing months. So like spring when it's getting all rain, it doesn't need irrigation. With irrigation, you can make it a lot healthier and greener. It does go dormant in the winter time. And this year we plan to experiment with overseeding some or all of the dog parks with ryegrass to see if we can get that to like take. And that is a winter turf grass and only lives in cooler temperatures. With the installation of the small dog park, he was extremely surprised to see that the quality of the sod when it was arrived. It was bright green, and when installed, it looked like we could just open it the next day. That is not typical of Bahia sod installations. It almost always arrives brown and often looks like hay. You could really think that it was dead grass when you get a pallet of Bahia. And that was the case for the large dog park sod installation. It arrived like they normally see it, brown, but not actually dead. We're not doing anything different to grow the grass in the large dog park than they did in the small dog park. And there's nothing different in the large dog park than with any of the other sod installations they're doing this time of year. While it looks brown, it is not actually dead and it's doing great. It's growing as they expected it to. It's about 50% green right now after a 1-week installation. Both parks are currently being irrigated every single day to encourage the root growth. And on the large dog park side only, because it is closed right now, they are manually turning on the watering every day in the afternoons to try to give it some extra nutrients and stuff. The large dog park is closed until May 8th, and when it opens, it will no longer be sod, but it will have an established root system and be green grass for the dogs. That's the statement from Ryan.
Yeah, that's what was told to us yesterday. Remains to be seen. We have the board and we have Lauren behind us on this. If that park is not ready to open on the 8th as promised because of a problem that should have been foreseen, then Lauren promised that they're going to do whatever they can to find him or whatever they terminology that they use for repayment to us.
This is one of the good things about using a contractor who has, I mean, he has a $3 million contract for all the celebrations, so we can withhold payment on anything for the future until it gets fixed. And Brian is also, in my opinion, a good partner, so I trust that the right thing will happen here, but I also think we have to trust that if he says this is going to be green when the trade to open, then it is. And if I'm wrong, we have ways to fix it. Financially.
And you were with us yesterday when we were at the dog park looking at it, so.
Not just.
The other,
Oh, last week.
Yeah.
Whatever.
which is why I'm surprised they put grass over the dirt.
Yeah, that I wasn't, because we stood there and plotted it out, so I'm surprised that they put the grass there, but maybe the guys just,
I will say one thing, they were watering yesterday.
they were.
Absolutely.
We were standing in the middle with it.
Back when we went over to the small side, they started to test on that because there's a problem, with one of the sprinklers that they were working on. One of the things that we did ask them about is why it's so lumpy. Did you get any kind of an answer?
Yeah,
To satisfy you?
Yeah, so Bahia is a bumpy sod when you put it down. It's not like a smooth bottom, like you could just pick it up and it's smooth. So they've been rolling over it when they mow and stuff like that. And all of that, people walking on, dogs playing on it will help it to smooth itself out. But it's not naturally a smooth path grass or whatever you want to call it.
Hippodrome Park was redone 6 months ago, and that's the same grass. And when that was put down, it was bumpy. The pieces didn't connect. I thought, this is ridiculous. How is this something that we can pay for? But if you go look at it today, that is completely green. It's very smooth. It's one of the nicest parks in town. So Hippodrome Park is one that I would say go look to see what this should look like when it's done. Now that's no, it's not a full something. There's a tree on the third of it. So yeah, I had the same thought when I've seen other parks that.
When we stood on it the other day, I mean, you could feel it was like, you
Yeah,
know,
it looks terrible. Not.
Right, but also from the time that I was there with him when it was first put in, and he could lift up a corner, like you could see the new roots, but they hadn't like attached to the actual ground yet. Now you can't actually do that part. And it's actually not as bumpy as it was. So, I mean,
Did ask him why, one second, I did ask him why he did not do as he told me he was gonna do when that park was gonna be open, it was supposed to be pristine, ready to go. It's not. There's weeds growing in the middle. He did show me, he did say he trimmed the trees, but he told me that, it's because it's being watered. You're gonna wait till everything is settled. I didn't buy that, and for what it's worth, that's what he said.
Want to raise a flag that putting down grass like that has a little bit of too long is a mobility issue for, I mean, specifically people like Paul, walking on it. So I'm very worried about that.
Well, it's not open yet though.
But the small dog side park, the small park.
the small dog side,
And
is
it's
and
still-
it is still
And it's
pretty
bumpy.
bumpy.
So
Really bumpy. I had trouble walking. So it's something to look at. Okay, with that, I'm gonna start the meeting right now. Call to order. We do have attendance, we have a quorum, we have a member of the board, and I'm going to make a motion that we adopt the agenda. Second, anybody?
I'll second.
Who motion?
All motion.
Yeah, I did. But we're going on three others. Yeah, no, good. Okay, then, gonna make, what was this? It says discussion items. Think we're gonna hold that off? Yeah. Approval of the minutes. That's what I'm gonna go to next up. I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the minutes from last month, March 25th, March 18th, rather, 2025. Second.
I'll second it.
Alternate use of timeout areas in the dog park discussion. It actually, I myself have found it's going very smoothly. I was surprised. It's people are not reading what the sign says, but at least they're attempting to come when they're supposed to come. We did have an issue with dog dirt. And I think we got that straightened out right now, but we haven't seen it since then.
So this is the alternate use of the timeout areas.
Yeah, this is not alternative usage of the park. It's the timeout areas that nobody uses.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the alternative usage.
So, yeah, so we were talking about alternative usage for that timeout. So we were talking about,
The two
we're not,
timeout areas,
Yeah.
about what else they could be used for.
so
Like the
alternative
a
usage.
washing station and.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I understand what it means now. We understand first. All right. What they were talking about is most of you guys already know because I talked to you about it. Two timeout areas are useless and wasted. It's a nice area. So what has been suggested, and this will come on to the next committee, next year's committee, is that we take one side of it and become like a park where you can sit down on
The
this
shady
tree,
side.
memorial type park. You know, if you want to put your dogs bags up or whatever. The other side, cleaning station. What Brian had suggested was we do a French well, which those who don't know, it's just all dug out and stones put on it. Station where you can wash your dog off. Good part about that is you walk right out of the park. You don't have to come to dirt. So that's on the agenda that will be on the agenda if the other committee, next committee decides. That's going to be a suggestion from us. Is that what you meant?
Mhm.
Okay. I was thinking, let's get back to what I was saying before. The alternative use of the parks has worked out very well. And I'm very pleased. There has been no issues. Everybody has been cooperative. I appreciate that. Communications discussions, bad news, Joe.
Yeah, so we had talked about having being able to like submit a newsletter quarterly or whatever, just as an email to the people to say, hey, this is what's happening at the dog park. And, you know, we have this email system, we should be able to use it, but apparently they think we have enough other ways to communicate with people. Even though personally, I feel that communication is one of the ways that we should actually like improve in this town. Because not everybody is on all of the various and alternate porches or Facebook or social media. Not everybody reads the Friday Flash or whatever. I thought it was a good idea, but.
May I ask a question?
Sure. I mean, I'm not a judge.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have we been able to talk about putting a sign on the dog park when there's a meeting to let have the meeting?
It's supposed to go in the glass case and Danny will address that.
Yeah, so I know last meeting we had, excuse me, we talked about putting it in the bulletin board. So I know that with the reversing the dog park, we were discussing the last meeting, which I think you two were there, we were talking about after 2 weeks, we're gonna put it in the small dog park when the dog park open. So unfortunately, that sign did not go out until yesterday when we all were there. So moving forward, we are going to have a sign at both bulletin boards that would say the location, the time, and the date of the meetings. And we'll do that. Like, in fact, if we decided one today, tomorrow there will be a sign that says the next meeting will be held at this time, at this date, at both bulletin boards. I know there was a discussion that we were saying the bulletin boards are kind of dirty. I am working on getting that all cleared out so that it will be clear for you guys to see. We're not putting any fluff in there. It's just gonna be dog park. No, we're not doing any events. Nothing in those two bulletin boards, just our rules and then the time of the meeting. When
Make
it's like,
a quick suggestion and just say, let's alternate colors for each one.
I got
Just, it could be just between two, but like people will, it creates blindness when it's been on there.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you don't change the color, it won't progress.
It also doesn't need to have like all of the things on it. It can just in really big font say dog park meeting, date and time.
Like,
Like,
you just need to like give them something to
Right.
realize like, that, oh, this is.
right, but it just need to be like, you know, something.
Can I just ask one more question about the grass, again, really, and to Jared? The watering schedule for the grass moving forwards, there was this kind of mythical watering schedule when Celia sat where you are. In future moving forward,
Don't do that.
can we at least all know, I'm not interested in the bushes outside of that anyone is, we're just interested in the grass.
Yes,
Moving forwards, can there be a fixed time when this stuff's being watered? I'm only looking at this from the point of view that we don't want to go through this again. And if it's watered regularly, then we should have something.
I can answer that one. Brian, we had told Brian at one of our parks there, we want the watering to start when the park closes. So that we know somebody can go there and look to see it's getting done. Yeah, I don't want to hear it's 2 o'clock this morning, 3 o'clock the next morning. When the park closes, watering is supposed to be done.
Yeah, and who's gonna manage that? Is it gonna be Brian or is it gonna be Graham Manners?
it would be Brian. We can do a published water schedule and schedule it when the park closes. so that people can see that it's watering.
That's great.
Because I know that's been an issue and that's easy to do.
Yeah, it was a touchy issue, but yeah, we told, and the same thing with the grass will be cut 3.5 inches long.
Yeah.
Scalping killed the grass. So that's another thing that was put on the agenda. All right, dog park updates.
Alright, so the.
Anybody on the side first? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, no worries. So, our total amount of funds that we have that we can use for our, dog park anniversary, our, what we want to do with the, timeout section. Right now, we have the total of $17,745.79 to play with. So when the next committee comes out, we can discuss what we want to do with those funds. So.
Whatever happened to the agility equipment? I know that was a discussion.
So I know that each time I was on this committee, it was like one wants, first it was, we want the lights, we got the lights, and the other one came out, they wanted agility, then the other committee was like, we don't want agility, we want something more. So I think if we decide to go with something, my suggestion is we pick something now to use, because that money's just sitting there. I think agility, there were some complaints that my dogs are gonna use it, why am I paying for this? My dog will, but we don't have a whole lot of room. I think you guys had a great idea of doing something with that timeout section, because that can be used with everybody.
Yeah.
Not small, not large, not this, so I think if we are gonna do something, whoever's gonna be in the next meeting, I think this is something we really have to focus on, is spending that money on some adjustments. If you guys tell me you want agility, we'll get agility. I was already working on it when I was told I don't want that anymore. I want to focus on something else.
I personally think that's a waste of money. That's, most of the people I talk to say it's a waste. Because the dogs, it's not an Olympic course. They want to run around, they want to play. I'd rather spend the money on two issues talked about earlier, which we're gonna bring it up right now. Any other issues?
So, yes, okay, so I just talked to, Christian, the, maintenance director. He was telling me the updates on what's going on in the parks. As of now, the, fountain parks, for each park, each dog park has came in. They just rebuilt one, and they're gonna rebuild the other ones, aka fixing them, this week. So one's been fixed. Now the other two, I'm waiting to see which part, which one
Because I
can get
which one
fixed.
got fixed.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that answer. But as of now, the parts came in this week. They rebuilt one, and they're gonna rebuild the other ones this week.
What was the one you were standing by yesterday with the bulletin board working? Were you able to get
It
water?
was working, but it was super.
It was very slow. We
Yeah,
showed,
it was
we
very
showed
slow.
it yesterday. Yeah.
Water did come
Yeah,
out.
the water
it
was good.
not
That's
100%.
right.
Yeah,
Can I make a suggestion about the money on Paul and Jill have done a great job, and yourself done a great job in raising money, and I think we would all be behind raising money for the dog park if the board actually let us spend money on the dog park for things for the dogs.
They're allowed to spend that money however they want.
yeah, we don't have any restrictions.
It's not even pro money, it's dog park money.
Yeah, but that's not what happened when Secret was here, because we wanted to pay for the chairs.
Yeah.
And that was a big fat no. We
Well,
wanted to pay for
Celia's
it.
gone.
So I'm just saying that if you're behind this, us raising money, I think we're all for raising money. If the money's just gonna sit there, then do you know what?
I mean, there's been, I was, 3 years ago, I was on this committee, there was 17,000, now there's 20, so
Yeah,
use it for, that's why I asked about the agility equipment, let's spend it on something.
yeah.
We've
I
talked
agree.
about agility equipment, we've talked about actual shade, like sales instructions and stuff. We've talked about putting in splash pads on both sides, like things for the dogs to use, but in the time that we talk about it, because we only meet once a month, like nothing ever gets voted and decided. By the time you research it and do it, it's another.
And also I think that not just things in the park, but things for the dog owners, whether it's some sort of, I know, not the lady's name comes down and gives lessons. Melania comes down. There must be other things like that that maybe we can offer to the residents for their dogs that out of the money that we raise, we might as well do it because
Yeah.
otherwise what's the point of raising it?
The board has to approve the expense, but they won't dictate. Like, if you come up and say you want to put a car in the middle of the lot, so the dogs can run through a car, they're not gonna say no if that's what everybody wants.
Oh, we might do it.
Don't do that. But if you want, if that's, $20,000,
Maybe today's not the best day to talk about.
I said
this.
So Robert, a car, right? You said car?
The problem we always have with money is because this committee is like the board. And every year you have something new coming in, new things coming on. We're a little bit better than the board, but we still are like the board in the sense that we're new every year. We need a little continuity. I think we've had that. We're ready to spend some money. We've always had to ask the board permission to spend the money, and for some reason, it just got pushed back, delayed, named, whatever. But I think
I'm the
think we're in
liaison
right-
next year, and Danny and I will make sure that something gets, that money gets spent.
That's our goal.
Yeah.
Cause we're both, I keep seeing that money, I'm like, we gotta do something with it. So we're on the same page.
Well, I know what we're gonna do with some of it. That's the next thing we have on the agenda, is we are going to have, we want to have a
grand reopening.
grand reopening of the park. And what we would like to have, maybe have some food trucks there. Maybe use our funds to buy like 100 magnets from the dog park and give those away to the first 100 people to come in, et cetera, that type of thing. We are really seriously interested in doing that.
Yeah.
I don't
See if
know,
we
is
can
there
have seats
anything
come.
that stops us from doing it?
Yes, but it just needs to be, there's a lot of things that can stop it. We just need to pick a date and then get the.
That's gonna be up to when the grand
Yeah.
opening is gonna be.
So like we did last time, it was channels.
Yeah.
So we had to start,
So if we can
start conversation.
anticipate the 7th and then say the Saturday after.
So the 7th is, the dog park won't be open yet. You're talking about the May 8th is when it actually opens. Now,
I would wait 2 weeks after.
I would not recommend trying to do an opening the actual day that it's open. Just because it's been open for 2 weeks don't mean it doesn't have to be a grand opening.
Okay, so I'm looking at like May 17th. Can you guys look at your calendars?
I don't know if we have enough time to plan for the seventh.
Yeah.
But
why don't
I'm
we
looking
do first of
further.
June or something?
I would like to look at the
Yeah, why don't we
beginning.
do a month after you spoke?
Okay, the next meeting is gonna be May 20th. So that will be the new committee.
But we can still make all of the plans and set the date and do all of that. We don't have to put off every decision for the new committee. Probably half
So
of
yeah,
this is
I'm
just gonna be
confused
on.
then because some of the people, so. Yeah, he started with. But we already brainstormed it. We already decided what we wanted to do.
Yeah, but, okay, now.
We want some.
Yeah,
food
we're gonna
trucks
talk
there.
to Scoops and have Scoops
So-
to see if they'll come since they're the new
Yeah.
ice cream place in Mountain Village. We're gonna talk to Melania and see if she wants to be a part of it.
Just a suggestion, what about doing it on a Friday and ask them if they could put the food trucks down there rather than doing it at Lakeside?
That's where you start getting into,
Food trucks aren't at Lakeside anymore.
Oh, okay.
They've been at,
There's definitely not enough room.
they've been at the fields for the last 2 months.
Oh, well, even if you do it at the fields at the same time.
They're right here.
No, we're just suggesting that we do the corresponding time of the opening with the next time they have the food trucks down the bottom. That's something we could discuss, but I don't know.
June 13th would be the next date for that. Because the dog parks will just be open on May 8th, 9th.
So,
next
and
month.
that'll work with the 20th being the next meeting under the next committee.
okay, so if you're looking at a June 13th date, that gives special events staff time to.
So what I'm gonna
Get
ask
proper
for is to
noticing
put that
now.
on the agenda.
Right,
for
we
the
don't want to
next-
do it that soon, because we don't,
Okay.
we gotta tell them.
June 14th.
It's party, not calendar.
June 13th with food truck.
June
restaurant.
13th, yeah.
I also, if June 13th doesn't work, I just want to say, I just Googled like social media pet holidays, and apparently June 21st is dog party day. Just throwing it out there.
And that's.
What date is that? What's the
So
21st?
that would be
Actually,
actually nice.
Roots Day.
Oh,
is
there's-
on
oh,
Friday,
we've done
so
some.
we're keeping, but
June 21st? No, it's a
I'm
Saturday.
June 21st is Saturday.
It's on the good side.
Oh, that's, okay. Dog.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Maybe.
so I just asked Brian to put that, I just asked Brian to put that on the agenda for the first meeting under the committee,
that's,
okay?
But in the
Sorry, go ahead.
meantime, I mean, staff should start working on this now because
we should all start working.
visuals need to be created to go in the magazine and to go in the Monday Matters and like things need to start happening.
Are we able to just decide it today? And then
So-
move forward with it?
I'm gonna make a motion that we decide today that June 21st is going to be the grand reopening of the dog park.
So you don't want it aligned with food trucks.
June 13th was food truck.
Yeah, June, I think.
Do we have a preference?
So, hold on,
13th or
I don't care either way.
so
I like thought.
we gotta make sure this would work with, like with management and all that. I gotta make sure that we have the spot. I gotta make sure we have the staff to do this. So if we're doing it like what we did before, it was 4 of us that ran that thing. So, because, I gotta make sure I have those people. We could do, I'd say you would do a motion recommendation to have our date, our grand opening on this date.
That's
Because if
what
I have to
was
adjust,
wondering.
I just wanna make sure.
As well as you want, yeah.
Okay, yes, do.
Why don't you do
Recommendation.
both days and let management pick based on staffing?
That'll work.
So we can do retrospective.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna start all over again, so that we have this officially official. I'm gonna make a motion that the grand reopening of the dog park either be on June 13th to coincide with Food Truck Friday, or June 21st to coincide with National Dog Party Day. And based on whether or not the staffing can handle one of those 2 days, that will decide.
Or the likelihood of problem.
Is there a second for that motion?
Thank you.
Wait, wait, I need the, I'm sorry.
I motion, she said.
Okay. Yeah.
All in favor? All 3 of us? Anybody? opposed? Okay. Before I go on to anything else, I want to thank people who would go to the dog park and this committee for what I consider an outstanding year in productivity for the dog park. Thank the board for supporting us, especially the last half of the year. I'd like to thank Danny. And I hope that the next committee, whoever they may be, continues with the same effort, same enthusiasm that we have. And they go forward with that, because we are here for the dogs. Anybody have anything else they want to talk about? Hard to believe it's here.
Yeah.
Maintenance, like that. That's maintenance though. Yeah, well, I didn't bring that up a little bit, but what Dan wants me to mention is, the initial problems we had with the poop. What has been suggested by Danny and by Graham Manners is that we get cameras put on the other side, the parking side, where we have both sides up, and people who, unless they have physical reasons, do not pick up after their dog. Take whatever action we can. And that'll be discussed by this committee, but I would think it would be probably a letter. And then probably a suspension for a month, and then after that, because it is not fair to have 1 or 2 people come in and police that park. It's just not fair. I have physical disability. I can't walk it. People who I'm with know that, they cover for me. No problem with that. I have no problem with somebody really obviously misses it. That happens too. But when you're on the phone yakking and you let your dog run around and not paying attention or whatever else, or the worst part is looking at it, looking at your dog bending down, squatting, and just turn around and go back to your phone. That's gotta be addressed. Can't afford that. They just spent a lot of money of that park. Yes, sir. You volunteer to pick up the food?
My wife does it.
Yeah, you like that. She used to follow you at home.
On the camera issue. One, we had a massive period where the cameras don't pick anything. Danny, we asked you for various things, can you show us where on the cameras the sprinklers are coming on? No, the cameras don't pick it up. Then we get pictures showing it does pick it up. Before we go to the expense, and I'm only thinking of the town, these things aren't free and they cost a lot of money to put in. Why don't we see how it goes? And then look at it again. I definitely agree with you, Paul, that something needs to happen. But spending 25 grand or 30 grand on cameras, the dog park seems like a lot of money to me.
I will say, I know I wasn't asked my opinion and I'm gonna provide it anyway. From a board perspective, there are other areas in this town where we need cameras more than the dog park.
Yep.
To deal with vandalism and things at the playgrounds. I mean, we just spent $500,000 on this playground and we don't have cameras on that. So like, that's more of a priority for me. Not that this shouldn't be a thing that we should get pricing on, and we should know what it costs to be able to understand in case there is a problem, but
I also just wondering if the manpower thing, like, people are gonna have to monitor that camera thing every day too, so.
we don't do that on any cameras. We don't monitor any moves. It's recording, but it's recording and then we go back, look for something.
Why don't we see whether if now the cameras are working in the dog park, we know that they're working. Why don't we see whether we can see some of these problems with what we've got and see how much of a problem it is moving forward?
Can you answer that then? You address that at all?
So, Robert, first off, you were talking about the sprinklers. When you said the cameras caught the sprinklers, are you talking about our security cameras or was it from, which, you got a picture of it? Okay. Was it in the small or large? Large one. Okay. I gotta talk, so I'm hoping that it's from our IT guys because I gotta talk to find which camera it was.
It was the one as far back as you can.
Okay,
To
alright.
the lot B side.
But they caught a camera going off. My God, our cameras did.
Yeah, well, I got a picture of it. I don't know.
Okay, I wanna make sure.
Yeah.
So as far as that, so Robert, is the cameras I have now is only over here. So as I'm over here, my camera's here. Okay, my camera is here. Okay, so I'm here. Or my camera is here. Or back here, right?
Yeah.
So problem that we're having is I only see you guys. When you come in and tell me a guy in gray walked in, I can't tell you gray because now he's underneath a shadow or a tree or something. And so with the poop, I don't mind, like I would do incident reports, which is great. I always go by the color of the shirt. Sometimes the footage don't catch it, but if you want me to catch a guy like who left his dog, that's the thing.
I don't think, even if you showed a picture.
Yeah,
You have to give date and time.
I don't think that you're going to actually tell who that person is unless you physically know them, that it was counting because it was the secret food button. You know, I mean, it's like, I don't think we're going to tell them, and that's what I'm saying, we've got another 8 cameras up, or we're going to be better off.
Yeah.
What I do think is that if there's something in the notice board, the picture, you know, the cartoon picture with the colour saying, pick your crap up, or something like that, that maybe that would have more impact.
Without getting new cameras, it's gonna be status quo.
So
Guaranteed.
So we talked about this. This was another thing. The other committees were asking like more cameras. I personally, I feel like we have a lot of other things going on. This is something that I was asked, will you please come? I didn't ask for this. They came and asked me, hey, I'm here with vendors. What would you like? This is how I like it. I want size on this side. However, I'm okay with going by what I had. But I just need the town to know that sometimes the incident reports are not going to always be our idea of footage, because I can't always see, that's my only issue, but the pooping, I mean, it is what it is. We do have signs at each gate that says,
Don't,
pick up your dog.
don't get me wrong, right?
Yeah.
It really bugs me when I walk in and the lady that does it comes in and puts flags on posts saying you've left your dog stuff. It's like, hold on a minute, you've.
I'll tell you who that- Jared, I'll tell you who that is after.
And you haven't picked it up.
That's a safety issue for the dogs.
They- they- they-
Like,
they-
why isn't that even a thing?
That's, I completely agree. And maybe as people in the dog park, if we see someone not picking their stuff up, then we have to report it to management. And they have to send them an email and say, look, sorry, but you've been reported, you're not picking your
That's what
dog
we
poop
fill
up.
out an incident report. I mean,
Well, how do we do it?
but you've got the QR code. You can just snap a picture of the offender and the poop if you really feel
There
it.
you go.
And submit it, and at least then it's documented time and place.
I also kind of feel like if we just tell people more cameras went in, it'll,
So
they'll think that they're working and.
All the cameras are actually working. And
Yeah.
tell them
Like-
that the cameras pick
Oh, yeah,
up.
quick. We're not sure which ones you have now or what.
No, they aren't.
right.
So, it's also in the room. It's working. They're working both of their room.
Okay, I'm gonna, before I close this up, I wanna ask the two members that are sitting here, if you have anything you wanna bring up or wanna discuss, or.
This has been a really good year, I feel, for the committee in general. We've done a lot this year. We've got new merchandise that's available for people to get. A tote bag, magnet, and 2 different bandanas, which when we sell pretty decently. I mean, we have to actually work at it, but I'm getting better. And I think that like that gives us opportunity to talk to people and all. I've enjoyed writing the dog park articles this year in the magazine. I don't know if anybody reads them or not, but I had fun writing them and picking out pictures and.
If they
And
don't,
stuff
they're
like that,
missing a good thing.
So, I mean, I've enjoyed doing that, so, yeah. it's been a good-
I will add one thing, I do love writing articles for magazines. That's my favorite thing to do.
Well, you guys did a good, great, fantastic job. There's no doubt about that. Much better than I can do, because I'm better telling people off than I can tell them.
That's brand new information.
Next meeting, May 20th. Any problems with that? 5:30 here?
You want it in Thursday? You want it?
No, let's keep it here.
Yeah, each one. Okay.
Is that all right with the rest of you guys? Given that, I will take one final adjournment. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Yeah, as soon as I finish right now, so. And it's a Heritage Hall.
Yes. And you can sign down.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll motion to adjourn unless there's anything else.
Second, all those in favor? Again, thank you for a great year. Jared, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for